Hi boys and girls, thanks for tuning in to today's Read Aloud. Today we are going to be reading Mrs. Honey's Hat. This is a really silly story and I think you're going to like it. The author is Pam Adams. She wrote the words. She's also the illustrator, so she drew the beautiful pictures. As we're reading the story, I want you to think about your favorite part. Remember, favorite part means the part that you like the most. When we're done reading, you can talk to someone in your household about your favorite part. Take a look at the front cover of the story. Take a look at Miss Honey's hat. What do you see? I see lots of things. I see some flowers, shell, feathers, cherries, lace. Do you have any hats that look like this? I do not either. Mrs. Honey had a hat. On Monday, she wore it when she took her grandson Peter to the park. She bought him some bubble gum and sat on a bench with her knitting. Peter thought, those feathers would make my arrows fly better. So he pulled the feathers off the hat and his bubble gum stuck to the brim. The brim is the part that shields your eyes from the sun in your face. But Mrs. Honey didn't notice. So Mrs. Honey didn't know that he took the feathers and got bubble gum stuck. On Tuesday, Mrs. Honey wore her hat to visit a friend. They sat in the garden in the shade of a tree and ate cakes. Some birds flew down to pick up the crumbs. Those cherries look good, they chirped. So they flew off with the cherries. One little bird left behind some eggs. But Mrs. Honey didn't notice. On Wednesday, Mrs. Honey spent a day at the seaside. The sun shone and the water was just right for paddling. Mrs. Honey felt very happy. She's at the beach. Have you ever been at the beach before? If so, what did you do? When I go to the beach, I like to build sandcastles. After Mrs. Honey took off her hat and sat in the sun, a hermit crab thought that shell would make a nice new home. So he scuttled away, scuttled means he walked away with the shell and left some seaweed behind. But Mrs. Honey didn't notice. On Thursday, Mrs. Honey picked dandelions to make wine. It was very hard work. She took off her hat and put it on the fence. A cow in the field saw the hat on the fence. What beautiful big buttercups, she mooed. So she took a mouthful and her bell fell off onto Mrs. Honey's hat. But Mrs. Honey didn't notice. Buttercups are flowers, so the cow took the flowers and accidentally left her bell. On Friday, Mrs. Honey went to see an old castle. Just look at those cobwebs, exclaimed Mrs. Honey. This place could do with a good clean. A big black spider dropped onto her hat. Hurrah, he said. This lace will make a good, strong cobweb. So he hurried away with the lace and left all his old webs behind. But Mrs. Honey didn't notice. Look at her hat. Does it look like the hat on the front cover? Or does it look different? Yeah, it's starting to look a lot different. Does Mrs. Honey know? She's going to be surprised. On Saturday, Mrs. Honey took her cat to the cat show. There were all sorts of fine cats, but she hoped that hers would win first prize. How many cats do we see? Can we count? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do these cats all look alike or do they look different? Yeah, a lot of them look different. They have different colors, different patterns. An alley cat saw Mrs. Honey's cat hat through the window. That ribbon might help me to win first prize, he thought. So he pulled it from the hat and left some fish bones behind. But Mrs. Honey didn't notice. On Sunday, Mrs. Honey went to church. Everyone seemed to be staring at her. Whatever can it be? She wondered. Perhaps it's time I bought a new hat. After the service, Mrs. Honey hurried home to look in the mirror. Then she noticed the bubble gum, the eggs, the seaweed, the bell, the cobwebs, and the fish bones. Goodness, she exclaimed, I've already got a new hat. But she wasn't too sure that she liked it. Do you like Mrs. Honey's new hat, or did you like her old hat better? Yeah, I kind of like her old hat better. It's a lot prettier. That was a really, really silly story. So as all the different people and animals were taking things from her hat, other things were falling in their place, and Mrs. Honey did not know. I would like you to think about your favorite part from the story, and I want you to talk to somebody in your house and share it with them. I hope you enjoyed Mrs. Honey's hat. I will see you tomorrow for opening group. Have a good night. Bye-bye.